Admit these people real quick. So good morning, everyone. My name is Eliana Mendoza, and welcome to Google Camp.
And here is your presenter,
Let me click. So if you guys want to connect with social media, hashtag #IEGoogleCamp, and that's for Twitter and Instagram. And if you need any help, look for my name in the chat, Eliana Mendoza again, and I'll see if I can help you. You could also go through Sked and click help at the top of the page. And the title of this session is Coaches Can Use Buncee Too, and our presenter is Leticia Citizen, and I'm gonna go ahead and hand it over to her.
No, it was,
To use a Nearpod. So we're going to place that in the chat for you all to join the session. And so once you click on the link, you'll enter your name, and then there will be a Google form there for you to fill out. And then let me share my screen. Great. And so again, you're joining this, this Nearpod by clicking the link that I've shared with you. Sorry, my girls are being loud. I can hear you, please. I'm presenting. Stop. Sorry about that. So again, you are accessing this presentation by clicking the link that I've shared with you in the chat. And then as you go in, there's a Google form for you to fill out. Give you a couple of minutes to do that. As we go through, if you have questions, you can always type those in the chat box. And if I need any clarifications on your questions, then you can go ahead and unmute yourself, and then it can help clarify if I am unable to answer your question, or if I don't answer it I answered in a way that wasn't actually answering your question, then go ahead and let me know that as well. All right, so we, for the sake of time, are gonna go ahead and start, just because I actually at 2 o'clock have another conference that I'm presenting at, so I'll have to leave right away and join that session at 2. So we are here today to talk about how instructional and technology coaches can use Buncee too. You'll see this is like a little picture of me. I typically present this with a very best friend of mine named Amy Slower, who actually is an instructional coach in Texas, but she couldn't present with me today. So we occasionally have to do that where we do it on our own, but I just wanted to give her a shout out to Amy. And then you'll also see this is me. So my name is Leticia Citizen. I am an I4 coach for Beverly Hills Unified School District. And our 4 I's are instruction, individualization, innovation, and instruction, that we really focus on going beyond just using the tool of devices or whatever, but really like deep diving and being innovative and creative with our instruction when we embed technology. I just finished up my 20th year of teaching, which has been really awesome and amazing when I sit back and reflect on just my journey as a teacher. So I taught 2 years kindergarten. I taught 7 years in first grade, and then I taught 9 years in fifth grade before finally listening to God and leaving the classroom and becoming an instructional coach. And so now I'm beginning my third year in that position, actually in Beverly Hills, but I did teach 16 years in Pasadena and then 2 years in Arcadia Unified. You can see also that I have all these badges from these amazing platforms because they not only engage my students, but they actually listen to feedback. And if I have any suggestions or any questions or anything, I can actually reach a live person. So I am an ambassador, and for some of these, I am a trainer as well. So today, we are going to talk about using Buncee as a coach, but before we do that, I want to actually find out who's here because like I see a lot of screens with just names. I have a couple with some faces, but besides my friend up in the corner, I can't see her name, my only visible person, I can't see the rest of you. So please introduce yourself. Hi. Please introduce yourself by telling me your name, your position, and your location, whether that's your district or your city, but go ahead and share that. And if you had trouble getting onto the Nearpod, if you could just share in the chat. So I believe is it pronounced Nelly? And then Leticia. Welcome, welcome. Oh, here we go. We've got Christian, who works in the Paris Elementary School District. We've got Amanda, who's here from Chino Valley. Welcome, welcome to all of you. Melissa's here from Banning Unified. We've got Ashley, and Agnes and Cassie. Hi, Jamie. I believe I just saw someone join in. So for those of you that are just joining us, I've included the link in the chat so that way you can join our session. All right, so thank you all for letting me know who's in this space. I think it's very important to always acknowledge and realize that we've got people in our space. All right, so you'll have 15 seconds to just answer this question. Have you used Buncee before? I'm going to go ahead and hide the student names. And again, if you're not on this Nearpod and able to engage with us, then go ahead and place it in the chat. So I've got a couple of no's, got a couple of what's a Buncee? Ooh, no one said of course. And then in the chat, everyone's saying no. All right, so you are definitely in a good place at this moment. All right, so before we move on, just wanted to point out that on your slide deck in the top right-hand corner, you should see a paper with a pencil icon. If you go ahead and click on that, you have the option of sending this slide deck, which will actually be in the form of a PDF that is clickable and editable. I think I said that word right. I always confuse it with the other one. But if you click those, you can send it to your email or to your Drive or to your OneNote. And then there's a space that will open up so that way you can take notes on the side. And even those notes that you take on that slide deck will also show up on that PDF copy. All right, so moving on. So here we are. This is the website for Buncee. And so I wanted you to be able to see that right away. I do want to start off by saying it is a freemium in the sense that like at the moment you have access, if this is your first time signing up, you have access to Classroom Plus free for 60 days, which gives you the educator account plus 150 students. Otherwise, you just get as a teacher 3 free Buncees to use. I will say that I actually do pay for the platform myself. Now, when I was in the classroom using it with my students, there were about 5 platforms that I paid for because I stopped paying for things like in my classroom. And I did ask for parents for donation to pay like $7 per student. I had 36 students. So that would also help defray the cost of when I'm paying for these platforms. But I did do the Lite, which was $10 a month. Just because like I really believed in how this platform functions and how it works. And so I really did a big job about like paying for that and then using that with my students. So I just wanted to be very transparent about that up front. But now we'll move in and I want to show you, oh, I hate when that happens. I want to show you what are some things that you can do with it as a coach. So we're going to go through this and you'll see that there are some things clickable. So right here, this first part is newsletters. And so myself and Amy, we love to use Buncee as a newsletter. So you'll see that once you click on it, or it may have opened up for you right away, this is inside of Buncee. So it does kind of function the same as that it has slides. So you can use it as a presentation tool, but it's not, so that way, like if I share it with you, I won't control it like Google Slides. It's more so that way you can peruse and look through it. So, and then you can add links. So right here, it tells you to click me. So here are some examples of how I use it when I'm creating newsletters for my teachers. Because remember, I'm out of the classroom. So I create a weekly newsletter for my teachers. You can see that, that I have different ways that I'm going about doing it and how it looks. This one right here is actually, I set up the background in Buncee and then I actually put it on a thing link so that way teachers can access it. But I've got these different ways, and what I do for my weekly newsletters is once a month, I use a different platform to make my newsletters. And I do that specifically because I want teachers to see different ways that platforms can be used. So usually like the month of August, and because August is short, August and September are my month that I use Buncee to create a newsletter. I'll also show you, nope, that's not what I want you to do. This is also Amy's examples of how she uses newsletters, and she actually pulled in newsletters from other people that she knew as examples that she got their permission. And so that's one way that we're going to go ahead and use this platform. And also when you go into Buncee, there are plenty of templates that are there, and you'll see that when you start like a new one, it will give you the option to search for newsletter templates. And so some of the ones that I created, some of the ones that Amy and other people have created are also there that you can then take and copy and then make it your own. Okay, so that's one way that we use newsletters with our teachers. The next one as a coach is we're all about using Buncee for campus and district signage, right? So I'm going to click on that to take you a little bit deeper. So when I click here, I love using Buncee for my PD presentation covers. So we can click on this one so you can see. So I like to come here first, create all of this. So all of these things, and you can pull in images as uploads to also use, but all these other, the text, the images, the backgrounds, they're all available right there in Buncee. I mean, they have a wealth of clip arts. They have some that are animated. They've got 3D images. They've got 360 images that you can use. But I love to go into Buncee so that way I can create all my presentation covers. Here are some other ways. These are ways that Amy has used it. Thank you, Liana, for putting the link. And so she likes to create, like to advertise for upcoming PDs that she's hosting with her teachers. Again, these are just like signages that she's using. This is for Red Ribbon Week that she did. Here's something that she does with her teachers during Christmas time, where she gifts them with like some of her time. And so I also implemented that with my teachers. Again, I spoke to you earlier about like using templates. The other thing that you can do in Buncee is that you get to actually select the size that you want your Buncee to be. So One option is to choose banners. Another one is if you're going to do it for social media. They also have some if you're using Wakelet and how to create those. Here's a sign that I created in Buncee that I had when we were in person in 3D on my office door. So that way if teachers missed me or even students, they came to see me, this QR code I created actually links to Flipgrid. So that way teachers and students can just leave me a quick message. It comes to my phone and then I can see it. But the rest of this I created in Buncee. So that's the door for my sign, sign for my door. Here's another one about like to keep, I have this on my door as well. So that way students and teachers can see what I've been reading. And so again, all of these images are inside of Buncee that I'm able to create, to use them and create this signage. Here's what I love to do for Hour of Code. So I create this for my teachers and then I share this with them in an email and I post it on my website. But all of these are clickable. So anything that's underlined is clickable for teachers to go straight to, but I broke it down for them from Monday through Friday for that week for Hour of Code. And then I also had a second part to that Buncee where teachers could have access to all types of resources so they didn't have to do much of the work. So it's all here for them to access and I just link it all in Buncee. Here's one that I did for Read Across America. So anytime that I need to generate information, flyers, or anything like that for my school and my district, I'm gonna come straight here to Buncee and just go ahead and create it because I just love it and it's all right there. Here's another one. We love to use Buncee for websites and our Wakelet designs. And so I'll take you, click on that. And again, for those of you that did log into the Nearpod, and if you sent this to yourself as a PDF, then all of these links are clickable and accessible for you. And then afterwards too, if you filled out that form that I put in the beginning, I will send you a student PACE deck access this Nearpod afterwards. So here's another example. This is my coaching website that I have, and all of these little images here, and some of them are GIFs, I actually created in Buncee. And so I will say this, that so Buncee does allow you to download your creations as an image or as a PDF. In order for you to do so as a GIF, I actually had to use an extension. The Chrome extension is called Chrome Capture. So using Chrome Capture, I can go ahead and like highlight my Buncee. It records however long I want it to for that GIF to work, and then I download it into my computer, and then I'm able to upload that into my web page. So all of these images, and then they're clickable, so then it takes you, and again, I'm using Buncee to go ahead and create the images and links that I want in my platform. And then this is Amy's. So Amy created this flyer to advertise about, like a blog that she wrote, but then she also has a link up here to her website that takes you there where she like talks about Buncee and she uses some things to create her images. And then it's really a pain, that little thing up there. All right, here's another thing. She wrote a blog post for, I forgot who it was, but then she was able to like create this in Buncee and then go ahead and click here and that sends you to the information that she has. All right, so that was our website. And then the other thing that part of that website thing was Wakelet. So I don't know if any of you are familiar with Wakelet. Wakelet allows you, it's a curation tool that allows you to not only curate links and videos to YouTube and PDFs, and now you can pull in your Flipgrids, but we also love to use it with Buncee in the sense that, once it goes there, you'll see that this banner, Amy actually created this in Buncee. And then these images here that she has for her Wakelet collections, she also created those in Buncee as well. And so then I also linked mine And so you'll see that my banner was the one that I showed you earlier. That card, my business card, virtual business card, I actually created in Buncee. And so I uploaded here into Wakelet. And so you'll see, again, these are images that are part of my, for my Wakelet collection. I've created those all in Buncee. You'll see that this is animated. So again, that whole turning it, allowing it to be a GIF. Again, I'm gonna use Chrome Capture to do that. And then I can upload those into Wakelet as well. So I love to use it just to have my background images for Wakelet. All right, so we're gonna take a pause right here. You'll have 15 seconds, so you'll have, this is just a quick check-in. So looking at the 3 different types that I just showed you, what types of Buncees would you like to try out at this moment? Like if you could go into Buncee, which one of these? And again, if you're not on the Nearpod, we looked at 3 options. We looked at the campus and district signage, we looked at newsletters, and then we looked at websites and Wakelet designs. Which one would you like to try? Doesn't look like anyone marked anything. Does anyone have anything that they would like to try? No? Okay. So it's a lot of information to take in. All right, the next one is for professional development. So we've got some links here. Again, so for like PDs at our school, this is Amy's page where she shared some of the things that she's doing with her teachers. And again, she's generating this all in Buncee as advertisement and to share with them, to get them to come and engage. Here's mine. So in order for me to like build school culture, because we not only want to do it with our students in our classrooms, but we want to do it with our teachers and school wide. So like I did something where it was called hashtag Teach Better Challenge that like I saw someone doing on Twitter, and I went on ahead and incorporated that, where each day for a week they had a different challenge to demonstrate something, and it was all about sharing and getting feedback. I created this, what was called Summer Selfie Bingo. And again, I'm just generating all of this in Buncee. This was for our winter selfie bingo one that I created for teachers for the 2 weeks. The business card, an activity that I not only loved, I used to do this with my students, but I also do it with teachers. We try to do this as a staff, where you're doing the math and me. So talk about and using what numbers represent you, and then like briefly telling what those are. So like I've taught in 3 different districts. I have 2 kids at home out of 4, but now we're down to 1 because the 3rd one just went to school. So just different ways of building school culture, getting them involved, but just coming here on Buncee to do it. Another example is I saw this again. Actually, I got the idea from Amy, and I think she got it from someone else. But I do what's called Copy Your PD. So what happens is, in addition to my weekly newsletters that I do for teachers, I also do monthly Copy Your PDs. And I create these again on Buncee. I get the QR code, so that way, and I post these at the copier. So we have 4 copiers at our school in 4 different places. And so I generate these on Buncee, and then I print them out, and I place them each above the copier. So that way when teachers are there, hey, you're spending a lot of time there. Why not get some professional development going on while you're there? But these are going to be different from the newsletter in the sense that this is more about the teacher. So I always have a section about self-care. I always have something where like, hey, you know, this was for the new year. What's your word, you know, your personal word that you have for the upcoming year, and then create it on a Buncee. So that way the information they'll just scan it with their phone and they can do it right then and there. And then I always try to highlight like some type of ed tech tool that the teachers again can use for themselves. So again, you can see here, this was for the month of December. Again, there's this self-care. there's some kind of hashtag, do good December, and then again, highlighting some type of tool that they can learn more about as they're standing there at the copier. Okay. Any questions so far? You guys are quite a bunch. Here are some activities that Amy does with her staff. So she does like Tech the Halls, and she does in February, she does Fall in Love with Tech. And so again, like there's these different just like choice boards, and they're gonna engage and like share in the space. The summer selfie bingo. So Amy went on ahead and took my idea, made a copy of it, and then modify it so that way it meets the needs of her teachers. She does something called, or she got this idea from oh my God, it's a group in Texas that they do like the chopped ED, similar to that show, right? So she gives you a tool, and then there's some directions that follow through, and then they have some must things that they have to include. So you see what their pantry ingredients are. So it's just another fun way to like keep your teachers engaged and build like community outside of just all the time of like, de-stressing from everything that's happening in the classroom. Here's one for Tech Retreats. She does happy hour with them. And so again, all these things are being created in Buncee. So it's just our love for the creation tool. So you just saw some ideas for PD. And so I gave you 45 seconds to do it. But what type of professional development activities or ideas could you then that could be created and then shared using Buncee? What ideas do you have? And again, if you're not on the Nearpod, then you can just share in the chat. Or like maybe you've already like done some of these things. What are some things that you've done? Oh, SEL activity. Thank you, Leticia. Anyone else? Yeah, starting the new year with distance learning. Definitely. I think we're kind of all in that boat right now. Holiday fun activities. All right. Oh, I like the idea of sharing resources with teachers in a newsletter. That's right. And then collaboration. Thank you for that. All right. So let's move right along. So the next thing that we wanted to highlight and how we use Buncee is for our desktop backgrounds. And so, we're all on our computers, we're all doing different things, but we thought, hey, why not use Buncee to tailor it so that way the image in the background, like we can make it operational, we can make it functional, right? So, so every month, like Amy creates one that like reflects the time, the season of the year, or maybe the month. She always includes a quote that's there. And then she broke hers down through presentations, work, and then personal. And then here's another example. I know that when she puts it on a computer, then she actually lines up her folders to be organized in this manner. And then this is the one that I did. So I brought in some images from Flipgrid, but I set mine up so that way it was in progress, upcoming projects, and then 911. Like you need to get this done now. And I use this sticky. So I have a MacBook. So I use the stickies that are on my MacBook. I'm able to type on them, and then I organize them in the section that they need to go on. So that way it's my virtual to-do list. When I open up my computer, that's the first thing I see when my desktop is clean, of course, but like that's the first thing I see. I know where my checklist is and I know what I need to get done. And then I'm able to just move things over or use the emoji with the check mark to like check off things once I complete them. But again, I've created, and then even with this text in the back, I've generated that all on Buncee. The next one is Twitter chats, graphics, and banners. And so let's take a look here. So earlier I showed you on my website how I use it to make those squares so that way they're clickable. Well, this is what I do. So I also spoke about how I do weekly newsletters with for my teachers. And I do post them on my my coaching website so that way others can see them. But I created these banners. So remember I showed you that you can select a different size for the type of Buncee that you're creating. I chose the banner option, and then I created these, and you can see that again they're movable because I use some of the animation using the Chrome Capture extension. And what's nice is then teachers can click on this, and then I house all of my newsletters on Bulb. And so again, this matches the one that was on the other page, and now they have access to those newsletters for that month. And so then if they want to access a different one, then they can come here. But all of those banners I created in Buncee. So this, for the month of November, I use Satori as my newsletter. And so every week I just come here and I just post it on Bulb. So that's one example. Amy, just like myself, we created our business card here on Buncee. So, and this is actually a Bitmoji that Buncee created for Amy way back when they first started. So she got to keep hers. This is for a Twitter chat that she's using to put the questions on. Again, another example where she's using her Bitmoji as well on there. Just some different ways to do that. Then I showed you mine earlier. Again, I used this, I created this business card in Buncee, and then I uploaded all of these icons in there to match it to my badges. I've also used it for Twitter chats when I'm hosting them. So this was like an advertisement to let people know that it was up and coming. And then I let them know what the questions were ahead of time. Another example, I love to use Buncee to advertise when I am presenting. So for, this was for Queued Up virtual conference in June, and I just went on ahead. Again, all these backgrounds are there in Buncee. All I had to do was just bring in my image, and I typed it all out just to let teachers know that I was going to be presenting soon, and so they needed to check it out. So I wanted to give you time to go ahead and play with Buncee, to go ahead and like sign up, or I could quickly, if you would prefer, I could quickly demonstrate how, like, what Buncee looks like inside. Yes, I see, I think that's Leticia, right? Are you not? Yes, she's nodding her head, yes. So are you saying yes? Yes, please demonstrate. Okay, that's what it was. So I'm gonna go ahead and log in. That's always, okay, good. I always try to make sure that my computers remember my passwords because I can't. Right now they have like a little creativity challenge going on Buncee. So like it keeps up with your daily streak and your weekly streak. And when you do so, then they've got these new animations that are going on. So you get to unlock a new animation. So definitely something for you to check out. So this is the dashboard for teachers. This is also, if your students have an account through you, that this is also the dashboard for students, okay? So students can actually create Buncees outside of you assigning them to create Buncees, okay? And then at the top left-hand corner, you'll see that it gives the option for classes. Now, this is where you would then create your classes that you can set up assignments for students. And here, I'll go into one. So this was one. And then students are earning badges as well as they create them. But it tells you like a snapshot. Here's my student. Here's the number of Buncees they've created, how many they've actually submitted. And then you'll see this is my list of students. It also gives me a list of their assignments. And so these are all the assignments that I've created. And so in the snapshot, it tells me when it was due, if I need to edit that information, and how many submitted it. And then this gives you the option to, sorry to say, download the grades, because then you can also enter grades in there. So I wanted to show you what that looks like. So here, we'll click on this assignment. This was when we did our Wonder Waves poetry. Oh, wait, that's actually the Buncee. I don't want to show you the Buncee. I want to show you the assignment. Okay, so here's the assignment to view as a teacher. If you are going to do that, you do a title, description. You can upload a Buncee that then students can use as a template if you want to. You can set up the due dates. The nice thing too is that as students submit, so I want to show you that. So it shows you the list of students that you have, and it tells you at what stage they are in their project. The nice thing is that even if they turn it in, so like this student turned it in, but I checked it out, I can send it back to them so that way they can make adjustments, and I can make notes in there telling them what they need to do. So that's if you have a classroom, but otherwise everyone has access to this Buncee dashboard where you can just go and create. So I'm gonna do is I'm gonna click create a new Buncee. There was the 2.0 and now there's a 3.0, so it allows you to either stay in 2.0 or go ahead to 3.0. I'm going to go ahead into 3.0 just because it gives you some little extra bells and whistles, I guess, and the way that it looks. But as soon as you say, okay, I'm going to 3.0, I'm creating new, it brings you to this board. So this allows you to select templates, okay? So it always highlights certain templates that, you know, either teachers recently submitted. So teachers like myself and Amy, we're always submitting ideas and Buncees that we've created. And let's say, you know, I can click on it. It'll give me more information about it. It shows you how many slides are there. That's not what I wanted to do. Sorry, I wanted to stay at that window for you. I'm back, there you go. And so I can either search through here, or maybe if I have something more specific, there's topics here on the side. So like earlier I showed you, I kind of changed it up, that I wanted to go to, if I went to newsletters, again, if you have, you know, weekly class newsletter, if you've got some templates here, so you could always click on it, and then it gives you the option, do you want to use this template, okay? If I don't want to use any of these, there it is, then I can just go ahead and click start from scratch. And that's what I usually do. I just go ahead and I start from scratch. It tells you, hey, you want to click here to change your background and click here to add your first item. On the left-hand side, it shows you your pages. So I can just go ahead and keep adding it. When I add a new page, it allows me to either add it as a blank new page, or I can stitch. Stitching is basically a way of copying, and that's something that you would do. Like if I already had a Buncee that I created on my own, then I can make it copyable. I can then, it's a process, but I make it copyable and then I take it and it becomes part of like my copyable folder somewhere that's just there. And when I hit stitching, so let's say I wanted to stitch a Buncee, these are all the things that I've stitched from previous Buncees that I've made. So if I wanted to bring one of these in, I could do that. So let's say I wanted to click on that one. It tells me to add. I can actually click on more than one and it will go ahead and let me do that. Otherwise, if I just wanted to start from scratch, then I'm gonna start off with my background. I'm gonna click there, and now it's gonna open it up to all the backgrounds that they have. So again, it always starts off with the ones that were recently added. Otherwise, I can come right here on the left-hand side, and it has all these different topics. So it even highlights newly added. It will highlight the ones that I recently used. If I want to use those again, I can access the ones that are trending across the Buncee platform. But I can just come here, look at them, click on it. It has all these options. So this is the one that I use for the copier PD. I like to use these to give me those sections, and sometimes I also use them for my newsletters. But you can use them for whatever. So let's say I like this background. Again, it asks me, do you only want it on this one page, or are you gonna want them on all the pages that you have? Or I'm just gonna say, hey, I'm gonna start on that one page. You'll notice that icon that was there for me to add a background disappears. And then now it has this plus sign. You'll also notice that this plus sign also matches the one on the right-hand side, okay? So once I click it, now it gives me access to all the ways that I can add to a Buncee. Okay, so remember we saw the animation. I can click here. So these, remember I told you that whole creativity challenge that they have going on right now. These are the new ones that I just unlocked, and you'll see it says creative creativity challenge rewards. So these are the ones that I've been purposely going in every day and creating because I want the animations because then they'll stay in my account. But I can access the ones that are trending recently. So this again is the ones that I recently used. And the nice thing is you have the image, but you'll notice if you hover over it, it has the play button. So I can press play and it shows me what that Buncee does, that animation does. Okay, I can come over here, want to see what the turtle does. All right, so he just kind of moves in place. But you have the ability to go ahead, find the ones that you like, test it out to see what it does. And then let's say, see what this one does. Take a look. Okay, cool. So I can click on it. Yeah. And now it says add one. But maybe I like this one too. Just make sure. Okay, yeah. And then I can say add both of them. So I click add and now they've both appeared here. You'll also notice that they appear on my right-hand side. Okay, and you'll also notice that that big plus sign is gone because now anytime I want to add something to my Buncee, I'm just going to come to the right-hand side and I'll click there and then it opens up all the wealth of jewels that Buncee has for us to use to create. Okay, you'll notice it has text. Again, it starts with a text box. I'm going to double click in here and you'll notice at the bottom my toolbar changes. So that way I can change the different fonts. They actually just recently added like 5 new fonts after Buncee's been around for a while. So that was really exciting for a lot of us. But you can change the text size, you can change the color. If you know the hex code, you can bring that in as well. You can do alignment. So all the options that are here, you can do that. You can also add a link like you saw me clicking on those links. Jessica, do you have a question? No? Okay. But I can do all of that here. Let's say I wanted to move this image. I can move that animation. I can resize it once I click on it. If I want that to happen, I can also do this one, right? So I can set that up. Let's say that, you know what, after a while, I'm like, I don't really like this background. If I just click off the Buncee, you'll notice that my toolbar changed. I can come back down here and say change background, and then I can go back in there and change the background that I want to. So you can always add or adjust. Let's say I don't want this hat anymore. I can go ahead, click it here or click it on here, and then just click delete. So it asks me, hey, and that's another thing too. Anytime that you do something, it will ask you, hey, are you sure that you want to do this? You'll notice too with this animation or with this, and this also goes for any clip art, you can flip it if you want to. You can also flip it upside down. If you're like layering things, you can do to front or to back. You can even change how light or dark you want it to be, so you can adjust with that. You can link it to something, but all of that is there for you, at your disposal. You can even, turn this into a QR code. So that's what you saw me use on one of my Buncee things. I had a QR code there. Again, if I wanted to upload some things, it does tell you to make sure that you have permission to do so. You can bring in files. You can go through all the images that you've brought in before. If you have documents and videos, you can do that as well. There's Khan Academy. You can pull in questions. You can do a free response question there. You've got Buncee 3D. So all the options that you need are here for you to use. And then you always need to give it a title. And then you can preview it. So it takes you out, lets you look at it. And then if I want to share this, so automatically a Buncee is set so that way it's commentable and that it's copyable. So you have to make that decision for yourself. And it's always set for who can view. The default is anyone with a link, but you could change it to anyone, specific Buncee users, or only me. There's a code here that you can either link it or you can do the embed code. So sometimes I embed that, especially on Wakelet, I like to embed them. You can send these as an email. You can share with other Buncee users. So if you know specific people, will tell you. But if you have a school domain already set up because you have that account set up for your school, then you can't necessarily share with them. Like it's a protection thing for the organization. Or you can even send it to your class. So earlier you saw me go into the class one. You can set them up as RSVPs, which is really cool too. So Buncee does that when we have our ambassador calls. You can send it to all of these social platforms. You'll notice too that you can send it to Google Classroom. And then again, I spoke to you about downloads earlier. So you can download it as a PDF or you can download it as a PNG. But if you want to keep, so I wanted to show you that. So here's my Chrome Capture extension right up here in my toolbar. So if I wanted to keep this animation, I'm going to click on that and it tells me to drag to where I want it to go. And you'll notice that it gives me the option to either take a picture or to take a video. And you'll notice it shows me the frames right here. So I'm gonna watch it to make sure, I wanna make sure I get it at the beginning. So I'm gonna click it. Oh, why are you not working? Of course, let's try again. Hold on. Of course, when I wanna show you what I'm doing. So let's try again, take two. All right, so we capture that space. We click on the camera. Why? You know why? Let's try it again. I think because I have my screen off center because of that thing at the top. There we go. All right, so I click it and it counts the frames. You want to make sure, like the more frames that you have, the bigger your file is going to be. So you want to time it perfectly. But now I have this GIF, and so I'm going to come over here on the left-hand side, click the save button, and it gives me the option, do you want to save it as a web or as a GIF? I'm going to do that. I can rename it practice. I can resize it and then go ahead and save. And again, how long it takes to save depends on how many frames you had. So you'll see it pop down right here to let me know. And then, let's see. It came over here. I have two monitors, so I'm trying to find where it went. Let's see. We added. There we go. I'll bring this over so you can see it. So then here's the GIF, and you see that it's working. Okay. Any questions about any of that? That was a lot of information. We're also quiet. Ooh, I have 2 minutes. So if you, I'll do this. If you were able, well, I had a space for you to put questions, but it doesn't want to give me questions. So here we go. Yeah. I'll put the form back again. If you would like a copy of this Nearpod and student pace, so you can like go through and access everything again, then definitely fill out this form. Or if you are not on this Nearpod, then if you could put your email in the chat box, then I can send you a copy of it, your email. I'm actually including my email. If you have any other questions about Buncee, then definitely please reach out. So I'm gonna stop sharing my screen. Liliana, are you there? I know you have to do a couple of slides.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm gonna share my screen real quick.
Okay, Matt, I'm writing down your email. You are
And
all
just
so welcome.
and just real quickly, if you guys can just give us feedback on SCAD and Zoom, you could do it off of the SCAD app. We really appreciate that, and thank you for joining us for the first day of Google
Thank you
Camp.
for coming, and then if you guys would go to the skit and
I'm actually going to copy the chat
just for them
so
to
that
leave
I
feedback
can get their
on
email.
Okay.
today's sessions. So if they go to the
Thank you all for coming. I hope it was
they would be able
helpful.
to leave feedback on all the sessions they attended today.
Okay, so is it okay, Eliana, if I like dip
Yeah,
out.
we can end it now if you're done.
Okay, yes. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Have a good day.
Bye.